Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today, so we are planning to complete 2 chapters, chapter 11 and chapter 12. I've got a plan, and we can try and do both chapters without wasting any time. So that way we can conclude the story of Dhruva Maharaj today. So let me share the screen, and then we can start reading. Okay, chapter 11. If we can ask Meena Jatani Mataji, are you in a position to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right. Can you kindly read the 5 verses? Just 5 verses.
Yes, just one moment. Sorry. Okay. Right, chapter 11. Swambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj to stop fighting. Text 1. Maitreya Vacha. Sri Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaj heard the encouraging words of the great sages, he performed the Achman by touching water and then took up his arrow made by Lord Narayan and fixed it upon his bow. Text 2. As soon as Dhruva Maharaj joined the Narayanastra arrow to his bow, the illusion created by the Yakshas was immediately vanquished, just as all material pains and pleasures are vanquished when one becomes fully cognizant of the self. Text 3. Even as Dhruva Maharaj fixed the weapon made by Narayan Rishi onto his bow, arrows with golden shafts and feathers like the wings of a swan flew out from it. They entered the enemy soldiers with a great hissing sound, just as peacocks enter a forest with tumultuous crowing. Text 4. Those sharp arrows dismayed the enemy soldiers who became almost unconscious, but various yakshas on the battlefield in a rage against Dhruva Maharaj somehow or other collected their weapons and attacked. Just as serpents agitated by Garuda rushed towards Garuda with upraised hoods, all the Yaksha soldiers prepared to overcome Dhruva Maharaj with their upraised weapons. Text 5. When Dhruva Maharaj saw the Yakshas coming forward, he immediately took his arrows and cut the enemies to pieces. Separating their arms, legs, heads, and bellies from their bodies, he delivered the Yakshas to the planetary system, which is situated above the sun globe and which is attainable only by first-class brahmacharis who have never discharged their semen. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So we've been discussing the story of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, when he was only 5-year-old, as per his mother's advice, Mother Suniti, left the palace, went to the forest, and guided by Narada Muni, he performed severe devotional service for 6 months in the Vrindavan, in the forest known as Madhuvan, when he was only 5-year-old. Being pleased with his devotion and austerity, meditation, Lord Vishnu went there riding on Garuda to see him and to give him blessings. And then Lord Vishnu said to Dhruva that he would be, he would go to the planet pole star. Lord Vishnu said that he was awarding Dhruva a pole star. And in the meantime, for 36,000 years, he would rule the kingdom. And then at the end of 36,000, he would go to the pole star. And he also mentioned that his stepmother would die and his stepbrother Uttama would die. And then Dhruva Maharaj, after talking, getting these blessings from Lord Vishnu, went back home to the palace, and he was received well by his father and two mothers and brother and all his subjects. Then in due course of time, his brother, a stepbrother Uttama, went on hunting excursion, and in that hunting excursion, his brother Uttama was killed by one of the Yaksha in the place known as Alakapuri. This is where Kubera lives, and it is very, very close to the place Kailash. And of course, his mother, Suruchi, Uttama's mother, she also went searching for him, and somehow or other she lost her life as well. Then Dhruva Maharaj became angry, and he went to Alakapuri. He declared the war. He declared a big war, and he killed many Yakshas. It is said that there was 130,000 Yakshas he was fighting, but he killed them all. And then he decided that, okay, I've killed all the Yakshas. Let me go and explore the city known as Alakapuri. But and immediately he realized, these Yakshas are very tricky and they got mistakes. And, I have to be careful. And then as soon as he thought that, immediately, he saw dense clouds in the sky, and there were thunderstorms, lightning everywhere, raining. In that rain, he saw blood, urine, pus, bone marrow, and there were so many ferocious animals. And some of the snakes, big snakes, were trying to devour Dhruva. Lions were there, elephants were coming to attack him. So he was momentarily overtaken by the illusion. Yeah, momentarily overtaken by the illusion created by the Yakshas. These Yakshas, they are very tricky. They got the mystic power. So they created some illusion, and Dhruva was momentarily overtaken by the illusion. And when he was in that condition, immediately sages from the higher planetary system, they found out. Oh, they saw this. What's happening to Dhruva? He's a pure devotee of the Lord. We should go and help him. And all the sages, they came to Dhruva, and they said, they advised Dhruva, don't worry, just chant the holy name of the Lord. If you remember the Lord, if you chant the holy name of the Lord, if you utter the holy name of the Lord, all the illusion that was created by the Yakshas will disappear. And this is what happens when we are in trouble. If we are practicing devotee, Krishna will send us some devotees. They will come and advise us. So this is what happened. Krishna will never forget you. So here the sages came and advised. That's what we discussed in the last chapter. Following the advice of the sages, Dhruva Maharaj, he immediately took Achaman, means touched the water with water. Achaman means you sip the water by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Like, you take some water, you put it in your right hand, and you say Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Narayana Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha. Like that, you chant the holy names of the Lord. So he chanted, and then he took a weapon called Narayanastra. Narayan, that was given by Lord Narayan to him. When he, took that weapon and he put it on the bow, that's it, just strung it, not released it. And immediately there were arrows coming out of that bow. First point is all the illusion is gone. When he chanted the holy name, when he performed the Achaman, all the illusion created by yakshas disappeared. Prabhupada writes a wonderful point that we are also in illusion in this world. We don't know what is right, what is wrong. We get carried away. So we are in illusion. But if we chant the holy names of the Lord on a regular basis, we can overcome the illusion created by the illusory energy of the Lord. So that's why Prabhupada advises that every devotee should chant the holy names of the Lord every day so that they can overcome the illusion. And they have clarity of the mind. So, and then the arrows were coming out of that Narayana weapon, Narayana arrow, and all the yakshas were being killed. And some are fled the battle, and but unlimited yakshas were being killed. He did not stop the war. Just war was going on, fighting was going on. He killed, he is still killing many yakshas. But at that time, his grandfather, Swayambhu Manu, came and gave advice to stop the war, to stop fighting, to stop killing yakshas. Swayambhu Manu's son is Uttanapada, Uttanapada's son is Dhruva. So Swayambhu Manu directly came and advised. So let's read the next section from. So let me share the screen. Raise your hand if you're in a position to read, then I know who to ask. Yeah. So, but in the meantime, can I ask Anupama Radhika Mataji to read from text 6 till the end of the chapter, please?
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Right. When Swayambhu Manu saw that his grandson Dhruva Maharaj was killing so many of the yakshas who were not actually offenders, out of his great compassion, he approached Dhruva with great sages to give him good instruction. Lord Manu said, "My dear son, please stop. It is not good to become unnecessarily angry. It is the path to hellish life. Now you are going beyond the limit by killing yakshas who are actually not offenders. My dear son, the killing of the sinless yakshas, which you have undertaken, is not at all approved by authorities, and it does not befit our family, which is supposed to know the laws of religion and irreligion." Text 9. My dear son, it has been proved that you are very much affectionate towards your brother and are greatly aggrieved at his being killed by the yakshas. But just consider, for one yaksha's offense, you have killed many others who are innocent. Text 10. One should not accept the body as the self and thus, like the animals, kill the bodies of others. This is especially forbidden by saintly persons who follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 11. It is very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in the Vaikuntha planets, but you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshipping him as the supreme abode of all living entities. Text 12. Because you are a pure devotee of the Lord is always thinking of you, and you are also recognized by all his confidential devotees. Your life is meant for exemplary behavior. I am therefore surprised why you have undertaken such an abominable task. Text 13. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. Text 14. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. Text 15. The creation of the material world begins with 5 elements, and thus everything, including the body of a man or a woman, is created of these elements. By the sexual life of man and woman, the number of men and women in this material world is further increased. Text 16, Manu continued, my dear King Dhruva, it is simply by illusory material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by the interaction of the 3 modes of material nature that creation, maintenance, and annihilation takes place. Text 17. My dear Dhruva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. He is the remote causes of the creation of this material cosmic manifestation. When he gives impetus, many other causes and effects are produced, and thus the whole universe moves just as iron moves by the integrated force of a magnet. Text 18. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable supreme energy, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prabhuji, text 18. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable supreme energy, time, causes the interaction of the 3 modes of material nature, and thus varieties of energy become manifest. It appears that he is acting, but he is not the actor. He is killing, but he is not the killer. Thus, it is understood that only by his inconceivable power is everything happening. Text 19. My dear Dhruva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is ever existing, but in the form of time, he is the killer of everything. He has no beginning, although he is the beginning of everything. Nor is he ever exhaustible, although everything is exhausted in due course of time. The living entities are created through the agency of the Father and killed through the agency of death, but he is perpetually free of birth and death. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his feature of eternal time, is present in the material world and is neutral towards everyone. No one is his ally and no one is his enemy. Within the jurisdiction of the time element, everyone enjoys or suffers the result of his own karma, of fruiting activities. And when the wind blows, small particles of dust fly in the air. So, according to one's particular karma, one suffers or enjoys material life. Text 21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is all-powerful, and he awards the result of one's fruitive activities. Thus, although one living entity's duration of life is very small, whereas that of another is very great, he is always in his transcendental position, and there is no question of lessening or increasing his duration of life. Text 22. The differentiation among varieties of life and their suffering and enjoyment is explained by some to be the result of karma. Others say it is due to nature, others due to time, others due to fate, and still others say that it is due to desire. Text 23. The absolute truth, transcendence, is never subject to the understanding of imperfect sensory endeavor, nor is he subject to direct experience. He is the master of varieties of energies, like the full material energy, and no one can understand his plans or actions. Therefore, it should be concluded that although he is the original cause of all causes, no one can know him by mental speculation. Text 24. My dear son, those yakshas who are descendants of Kuvera are not actually the killers of your brother. The birth and death of every living entity are caused by the Supreme, who is certainly the cause of all causes. Text 25. The Supreme Personality of Godhead creates this material world, maintains it, and annihilates it in due course of time. But because he is transcendental to such activities, he is never affected by ego in such action or by the modes of material nature. Text 26. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supersoul of all living entities. He is the controller and maintainer of everyone through the agency of his external energy. He creates, maintains, and annihilates everyone. Text 27. My dear boy Dhruva, please surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate goal of the progress of the world. Everyone, including the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, is working under his control, just as a bull, prompted by a rope in its nose, is controlled by the owner. Text 28. My dear Dhruva, at the age of only 5 years, you were very grievously afflicted by the words of your mother's co-wife, and you very boldly gave up the protection of your mother and went to the forest to engage in the yogic process of realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As a result of this, you have already achieved the topmost position in all the three worlds. Text 29. Therefore, my dear Dhruva, please turn your attention to the Supreme Person, who is the infallible Brahman. Face the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your original position, and thus, by self-realization, you will find this material differentiation to be merely flickering. Text 30. Thus, regaining your natural position and rendering service unto the Supreme Lord, who is the all-powerful reservoir of all pleasure and who lives in all living entities as the Supersoul, you will very soon forget the illusory understanding of I and my. Text 31. My dear king, just consider what I have said to you, which will act as medicinal treatment upon disease. Control your anger, for anger is the foremost enemy on the path of spiritual realization. I wish all good fortune for you. Please follow my instructions. Text 32. A person who desires liberation from this material world should not fall under the control of anger, because when bewildered by anger, one becomes a source of dread for all others. Text 33. My dear Dhruva, you thought that the yakshas killed your brother, and therefore you have killed great numbers of them. But by this action, you have agitated the mind of Lord Shiva's brother Kuvera, who is the treasurer of the demigods. Please note that your actions have been very disrespectful to Kuvera and Lord Shiva. For this reason, my son, you should immediately pacify Kuvera with gentle words and prayers, and thus his wrath may not affect our family. Text 35. Thus, Shambhu Manu, after giving instruction to Dhruv Maharaj, his grandson, received respectful obeisances from him. Then Lord Manu and the great sages went back to their respective homes. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. That was a long section. Yes, I've noted 3 devotees willing to read. So in the next chapter, we will definitely give a chance to all those 3 devotees. So please keep raising your hands. Keep it like that. Thank you. Okay. Right. So, as we discussed in the previous section, Dhruva killed many yakshas through Maharaj. And his grandfather Swayambhu Manu appeared to him and advised him to stop fighting. And that was the main thing. And in that thing, there are various sections. What are the different instructions he gave? First, he says that, why are you killing? Because for one yaksha, one yaksha killed your brother Uttama. For the sake of one person, you are killing entire dynasty. What is this? You are acting on the bodily platform. Dhruva Maharaj was a pure devotee, but momentarily he was just overtaken by the anger. Manu says, Swayambhu Manu says that, he gives a couple of very wonderful instructions. Yes. But actually, after killing all the yakshas, these yakshas attained the Brahma Loka. Prabhupada writes in the purport, because they were killed by a pure devotee of the Lord. And here, Swayambhu Manu, then he says, you are a pure devotee of the Lord. Is this an exemplary behavior? So saying that a devotee should behave exemplary, and this is very important for us. And he also says that when we are kind, when we are tolerant, when we are compassionate, when we are friendly with other living entities, Krishna is pleased. What is this? And then he gave the philosophy of, like, the destiny, like, everyone suffers their karma, suffers or enjoys because of their karma. So please give up your anger, and you became angry. Don't become unnecessarily angry. Prabhupada writes in the purport to text 31. So he says, anger is not right, but the devotee sometimes, he has to show a little bit of anger. So here, Dhruva Maharaj was a Kshatriya, and as a king, sometimes it is required to punish someone. You have to express your anger. But one should not become unnecessarily angry. Necessarily, one can become. A devotee should also become angry, just to teach common people a lesson. Prabhupada gives this example here, like once one snake became devotee, and because it became a devotee, it stopped hissing and raising its hood, stopped biting. So children took advantage and they started throwing stones on the snake. Then it was suffering. It was experiencing pain because of these children throwing stones, etc. It met Narada Muni one day, and he said, "Oh Narada, now I became a devotee, and I'm not, showing my anger. These children are throwing stones at me. What should I do?" Narad tells that don't bite them, but just raise your hood and hiss. That's it. So that they are a little bit like, temporarily, just to show your anger, at least for the time being, in order to drive away the miscreants. Sometimes the devotee has to show some anger. Prabhupada writes that point. And then Swayambhu Manu advises, for a devotee, a devotee should never annoy anyone. It is better to maintain good relationship with everyone. But as when you are a temple leader, when you are a temple manager, it doesn't work. Sometimes you have to annoy people because they don't like to be told. For a manager, it is a different story, because they have the authority to administer and manage people. Then they have to sometimes they will not be able to please everyone. That is it. But for a common devotee, we should maintain good relationship with everyone. So please stop this fighting. And now your fighting actually must have caused some disturbance to Kubera, because all these yakshas are assistants of Kubera. So because Kubera is Lord Shiva, so you also offended Lord Shiva to a degree. So I suggest that you stop this war and go and pacify Kubera. Go and pacify Kubera, because unnecessarily, that wrath will affect our family, entire family. So this is indicating that we should maintain good relationship with every living entity. We should not cause unnecessary disturbance to others. And that's where this chapter ends. So Manu advises, stop the war, and enough is enough. Be friendly with everyone. You are a devotee. You already, at the age of 5 itself, you saw the Lord face to face. And now, why are you demonstrating this behavior? Prabhupada writes that it was a momentarily, he was demonstrating this behavior because he loved his brother so much. And also, because the yakshas were keep coming in the fight, what happens is that it was not his intention. Just you kill one yaksha, but others are keep coming. Like in the fight, you can't stop, isn't it? If others are coming, if you don't have a weapon, if you don't fight, then they will shoot you. So it went on like that. So, and basically now Swayambhu Manu advises that please, go and pacify Kubera. It is very important. Is called treasurer of the demigods. So he is very wealthy, very rich person. He worships Lord Shiva on a regular basis. He is the follower of Lord Shiva. So please pacify him. And he left. So we'll move on to the next chapter, unless anybody has any questions. So far it's clear? Okay, let's move on. Satish Prabhu, you can kindly read the first 9 verses, please.
Sure, Prabhu.
You can read the title as well.
Yeah. Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead. Next one. The great sage Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, Dhruva Maharaj's anger subsided and he completely ceased killing yakshas. When Kuvera, the most blessed master of the treasury, learned this news, he appeared before Dhruva. While being worshipped by yakshas, Kinnaras and Charanas, he spoke to Dhruva Maharaja, who stood before him with folded hands." Text 2. The master of the treasury, Kubera, said, "O sinless son of a Kshatriya, I am very glad to know that under the instructions of your grandfather, you have given up your enmity, although it is very difficult to avoid. I am very pleased with you." Text 3. Actually, you have not killed the yakshas, nor have they killed your brother, for the ultimate cause of generation and annihilation is the eternal time feature of the Supreme Lord. Text 4. Misidentification of oneself and others as I and you on the basis of bodily concept of life is the product of ignorance. This bodily concept is the cause of repeated birth and death, and it makes us go on continuously in material existence. Text 5. My dear Dhruva, come forward. May the Lord always grace you with good fortune. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond our sensory perception, is the super soul of all living entities, and thus all entities are one without distinction. Therefore, begin rendering service unto the transcendental form of the Lord, who is the ultimate shelter of all living entities. Text 6. Engage yourself fully, therefore, in the devotion service of the Lord, for only He can deliver us from this entanglement of materialistic existence. Although the Lord is attached to this material potency, He is aloof from her activities. Everything in this material world is happening by the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 7. My dear Dhruva Maharaja, son of Maharaja Uttanapada, we have heard that you are constantly engaged in transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known for his lotus navel. You are therefore worthy to take all benedictions from us. Please therefore ask without hesitation whatever benediction you want from me. Text 8. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, when thus asked to accept a benediction from Kubera, the Yaksharaja, the king of Yakshas, Dhruva Maharaja, that most elevated pure devotee, who was an intelligent and thoughtful king, begged that he might have unflinching faith in and remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For thus a person can cross over the ocean of nescience very easily, although it is very difficult for others to cross. Text 9. The son of Idavida, Lord Kubera, was very pleased and happily he gave Dhruva Maharaja the benediction he wanted. Thereafter, he disappeared from Dhruva's presence and Dhruva Maharaja returned to his capital city.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
This is a very important section and a very important lesson. There is one important lesson for all of us. So, okay. Upon being advised by his grandfather, Swayambhu Manu, Dhruva Maharaj stopped fighting. And, he was thinking of going and pacifying Kubera. But in the meantime, lo and behold, Kubera appeared there in front of Dhruva with his servants. And Kubera spoke. Dhruva, I'm very pleased that you stopped this war, stopped fighting upon being advised by your grandfather. I'm very pleased. And then he tells, actually, he gives a little bit of philosophy. No one is cause of, your Yaksha is not cause of the death of your brother, and you are not cause of the death of the Yakshas. Ultimately, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without his will, even a blade of grass doesn't move. So, and then he says, my dear Dhruva, we understand that when you are only 5-year-old, you have executed severe penances and pleased the Lord. And please engage in the devotional service of the Lord. That is the best thing that one can do in one's life. And then he said, being pleased with Dhruva, he said, ask a benediction from me. I'm ready to offer any benediction that you want. And, Kubera is a treasurer of wealth, multi-billionaire. Plenty, you can't measure his assets, his wealth. So Dhruva Maharaj, what did he ask for? What did he ask for? Although Kubera could give anything he want, anything Dhruva Maharaj want. He was very rich. Imagine, he is the treasurer of the demigods. It is said, Tirupati Balaji, Tirupati Balaji? Yes, for his marriage, he took loan from Kubera. Yes, and he is only paying the interest now. Only interest now, until the end of Kali Yuga. That much loan he took. Only the interest. Quite a bit of interest rate. Our Bank of England also raised their interest today. So he's only paying the interest. So that much wealthy, is very wealthy. So this is a famous verse. We will try and recite this. So Dhruva Maharaj, what did he ask for? Text 8. Okay, make it, make a note. This is the important words. What did Dhruva Maharaj ask? Dhruva Maharaj is called Mahamati. Mahamati means, Mati means intelligent. Mahamati means the one who has great intelligence. Mahabhagavato means is a great devotee. So Maitreya Vacha Sarajarajena Varaya Chodito Dhruvo Mahabhagavato Mahamatihi Arau Savarve Chalitam Smrutim Yaya Taratyayatnena Duratyayam Tamaha. So when Kubera asked him to ask for a boon, Dhruva, being very intelligent, this is intelligence. Being very intelligent, being great devotee, he said, I just want Harausa Varave Chalitam Smrutim Yaya. Let me have unflinching faith and uninterrupted remembrance on Lord Hari. I should have firm faith on Lord Hari and continuous remembrance. Prabhupada translated as, he begged unflinching faith in and remembrance of the Supreme Lord, because these two things can make us cross over this material ocean, which is very difficult to cross over. So what a beautiful benediction. So be ready for it. In case, even you come to temple, Prabhupada appears in front of you, or Krishna appears, or Radharani, comes and talk to you. Oh Mataji, oh Prabhuji, we are very pleased with your service. Ask for a benediction. Then you should know what to ask for. Ready. Once we went to Vrindavan Yatra, one Prabhuji was taking us on Yatra. He was telling that in case if you see, if you meet Krishna, then you should be ready, to ask something. So, and this is it. He could have given anything. But again, remember, go back to the beginning, where Dhruva Maharaj wanted to have a kingdom greater than that of his great grandfather Brahma. Yes, in the beginning, that's what he wanted. But now, no, only unflinching faith and continuous remembrance of Lord Hari. We have little faith. Our faith is flickering. Sometimes we remember, sometimes we don't. Sometimes, we have faith, sometimes we don't. And Prabhupada also write, come on, Dhruva Maharaj is a pure devotee and Kubera is a yaksha, demigod. There is no need to ask for a benediction from Kubera, because he is a demigod after all. And Prabhupada says, if it is helping us in Krishna consciousness, we can ask benediction from anyone, even Lord Ganesh or anyone. My Lord, whenever we go to any demigod temple, what should we pray for? Kindly, kindly bless us so that I can advance in my devotion service to Lord Hari, Lord Krishna. That is our prayer wherever we go. And Prabhupada also mentions that the gopis of Vrindavan, they worshipped Katyayini. You remember Katyayini? Mother Durga's another form. And what was their desire? They wanted to associate with Krishna. They wanted to have the association of Krishna. They worshipped Durga and they got that benediction. And our Purnima, Rasa Purnima is coming, in few days. So on a full moon day, Krishna performs dance with all the gopis. We can talk quite a bit on that, but we don't have time. Unfortunately, we have to move forward now. Okay. Right. Next section, Ambada Prabhu, are you in a position to read? No.
Hare Krishna, yes, I am. Yes, definitely.
Okay. From 10 to 16, let me go back.
Text 10. As long as it remained at home, Dhruva Maharaj performed many great ceremonial sacrifices in order to please the enjoyer of all sacrifices, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prescribed ceremonial.
Yeah, complete 10. Complete 10. I will give you another suggestion.
Prescribed ceremonial sacrifices are especially meant to please Lord Vishnu, who is the objective of all such sacrifices and who awards the resultant benedictions.
Yeah, carry on, carry on.
Text 11. Dhruva Maharaj rendered devotional service unto the Supreme, the reservoir of everything, with unrelenting force. While carrying out his devotional service to the Lord, he could see that everything is situated in him only, and that he is situated in all living entities. The Lord is called Achyuta, because he never fails in his prime duty to give protection to his devotees. Text 12. Dhruva Maharaj was endowed with all godly qualities. He was very respectful to the devotees of the Supreme Lord, and very kind to the poor and innocent, and he protected religious principles. With all these qualifications, he was considered to be the direct father of all the citizens. Text 13. Dhruva Maharaj ruled over this planet for 36,000 years. He diminished the reactions of pious activities by enjoyment, and by practicing austerities, he diminished inauspicious reactions. Text 14. The self-controlled great soul, Dhruva Maharaj, thus passed many, many years favorable, executing three kinds of worldly activities, namely religiosity, economic development, and satisfaction of all material desires. Thereafter, he handed over the charge of the royal throne to his son. Text 15. Srila Dhruva Maharaj realized that this cosmic manifestation bewilders living entities like a dream or phantasmagoria, because it is a creation of the illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord.
16, please.
Text 16. Thus Dhruva Maharaj at the end left his kingdom, which extended all over the earth and was bounded by the great oceans. He considered his body, his wives, his children, and his friends, his army, his rich treasury, his very comfortable palaces, and his many enjoyable pleasure grounds to be illusory energy. Thus, in due course of time, he retired to the forest in the Himalayas known as Badarikashrama.
Thank you. This is a very short section. And after taking benediction from Kubera, he went back home and he ruled the kingdom for how long? For 36,000 years. And how did he rule? It is important. When he was ruling, he could see everything, everywhere the presence of Lord Hari. He was ruling as a servant of Lord Hari. You know, even if you are a king, you can become a devotee. King is not a big hindrance to you to become a devotee. Opulence is not an hindrance, actually. If you consider that opulence is because of Krishna, if you see that opulence in relation to Krishna, so he is acting as an instrument of Lord Hari and served all the living entities. So you can do any job, any opulent job, still you can become a devotee. If you see that everything in relation to Krishna. And what was his qualities? How did he rule? He was very respectable to the devotees. And he was very kind to poor and innocent. He always protected religious principle. And he was considered to be the direct father of all the citizens. We don't want to talk about the current day rulers, yes? So this is how he was considered to be father of every living entity, so kind. And those days kings, they were not very much attached to the kingdom. At certain age, they would give up everything, go to the forest and meditate. His father did it. His father made him king, and he went to forest. He left home. Although there were great comforts, palace comforts, he just saw that, all these are temporary. My wife, my children, palace comforts, servants, all the kingdom, everything is temporary. He realized. He knows anyway, he's a devotee. He just simply left everything and went to Badrikashram. Nowadays, we need not to do that. We can stay at home, chant Hare Krishna, eat prasadam. Yes. So in Kali Yuga, we have this benediction. No need to give up your family, but dedicate more time. At certain age, we should dedicate more time for devotion. Agree? More time. Stay at home only. No problem. But give more time. Devotion. Hear more about Krishna. Read more about Krishna. Do, if you are healthy, do some service for Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. And help others to become Krishna consciousness. Stay at home. No need to leave and go to Badrikashram. And the next section is cherry on the cake. Okay, so who would like to read next? Meena, Kiran Kohli Mataji, are you in a position to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mataji. Otherwise, I would have felt guilty, like not giving an opportunity to you. From text 17 till 40.
Okay. Okay. Text 17. Just a second. Yeah. Text 17. In Badrikashram, Dhruva Maharaj senses became completely purified because he bathed in the crystal and regularly in the crystal clear and purified water. He fixed his sitting position and by yogic practice controlled the breathing process and the air of life. In this way, his senses were completely withdrawn. Then he concentrated his mind on the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord, which is the exact replica of the Lord, and thus meditating upon him, entered into complete trance. Text 18. Because of his transcendental bliss, incessant tears flowed from his eyes, his heart melted, and there was shivering and standing of the hairs all over his body, thus transformed in a trance of
Devotional service. Oops, did we lose Mataji? Oh, are you there?
I'm there.
Okay.
Sorry, it's gone. I can't see it anymore.
Are you using a phone or laptop?
Yeah, I'm using my phone.
Oh, that's a little tricky, Mataji.
So sorry about that.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. Are you in a position to read again, or shall I ask someone? What do you think?
It's not. It's just minimized, and it's not coming back to its.
Okay, let's maybe someone else can read from text 19 onwards. Yeah, who would like to read?
I can read.
Yeah, please go ahead.
As soon as the symptoms of his liberation were manifest, he saw a very beautiful aeroplane coming down from the sky, as if the brilliant full moon were coming down, illuminating all the 10 directions. 20. Dhruva Maharaj saw two very beautiful associates of Lord Vishnu in the plain. They had 4 hands and blackish bodily luster. They were very youthful, and their eyes were just like reddish lotus flowers. They held clubs in their hands, and they were dressed in very attractive garments with helmets and were decorated with necklaces, bracelets, and earrings. 21. Dhruva Maharaja, seeing that these uncommon personalities were direct servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, immediately stood up, but being puzzled in hastiness, he forgot how to receive them in the proper way. Therefore, he simply offered obeisances with folded hands and chanted and glorified the holy names of the Lord. 22. Dhruva Maharaj was always absorbed in thinking of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. His heart was full with Krishna. When the two confidential servants of Supreme Lord, who were named Nanda and Sunanda, approached him smiling happily, Dhruva stood with folded hands, bowing humbly. They then addressed him as follows. 23. Nanda and Sunanda, the two confidential associates of Lord Vishnu, said, Dear King, let there be all good fortune unto you. Please attentively hear what we shall say. When you were only 5 years old, you underwent severe austerities, and you thereby greatly satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 24. We are representatives of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the creator of the whole universe, who carries in his hand the bow named Saranga. We have been specifically deputed to take you to the spiritual world. 25. To achieve Vishnuloka is very difficult, but by your austerity you have conquered. Even the great rishis and demigods cannot achieve this position. Simply to see the supreme abode of Lord, supreme abode, the Vishnu planet. The sun, moon, and all other planets, stars, lunar mansions, and solar systems are circumambulating it. Now, please come. You're welcome to go there. Dear King Dhruva, neither your forefathers nor anyone else before you ever achieved such a transcendental planet. The planet known as Vishnuloka, where Lord Vishnu personally resides, is the highest of all. It is worshipable by the inhabitants of all other planets within the universe. Please come with us and live there eternally. Text 27. O immortal one, this unique airplane has been sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is worshipped by selected prayers and who is the chief of all living entities. You are quite worthy to board such a plane.
Okay, you stop there. Let's discuss a little bit there, and then we'll come back. Devotees, if we will just take 10 minutes and we will complete this chapter. Please bear with us, and there are wonderful lessons. Hope you don't mind. I don't want to give it up in between. Just 10 minutes, please. So, yeah. So he left for Badrikashram and he practiced Ashtanga Yoga because he did that in the, when he was little boy. It's not something new for him anyway. So, and Prabhupada writes in the Ashtanga Yoga, in the meditation, it's not, it's not you meditate on emptiness or a zero. Prabhupada says that you focus on Archamurti, form of the Lord. So Dhruva Maharaj was bathing regularly and practicing Ashtanga Yoga, chanting again the mantra that was given by Narada Muni, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and he had developed severe ecstatic symptoms. And, he was continuously thinking about the Lord. And after some time, then he saw there is golden airplane coming towards him. And in that airplane, Nanda, Sunanda, the assistants of servants of Lord were sitting. And it is said that the airplane is like a gruha. It's like a house, mansion, like, a big, 7-8 bedroom house or bigger than that. It's like a huge palace. And so Dhruva Maharaj received them, offered obeisances. And so then they talked to Dhruva. They said to Dhruva, saying, "Oh, Dhruva, when you are only 5-year-old, 5-year-old, you performed austerities. So, this is a special planet. Nobody went there before. Nobody ruled it before you. And so nobody ruled it before. So please, come. We are here to take you to that pole star. And this is a special planet, and all the luminaries in the sky, they circumambulate as a respect this central pole star. So on this pole star, as I mentioned several times in the past, Lord Vishnu lives, resides here. And whenever Lord Brahma wants to offer prayers, he goes and offers prayers there. And we know that it was awarded by Lord Vishnu when he was little. So why does a devotee perform Ashtanga Yoga? Because it was the prescribed method for that age. It was Satya Yuga. So it is mixed. It's not just only Ashtanga Yoga, but it's Bhakti and Ashtanga Yoga. That was the recommended process for Satya Yuga. That's why he had done it. So then Dhruva Maharaj, are you all okay? Just for me to continue? Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a very important section. Bear with me, and you don't want to miss it. So many wonderful points. Then Dhruva Maharaj, then what did he do? He did his daily sadhana. Very important. Airplane was waiting for him to board. He can just jump in and go. But no, he did his daily sadhana. Chanting his, rounds, whatever the daily devotion. We should be like that. Our daily sadhana should never be affected. Never be affected by anything else. The airplane was waiting for him, and he is doing his daily sadhana. He took bath and he did his daily sadhana. Number 1 point, that is a very important point. Number 2, he was not puffed up. He went to all the sages there. He offered his obeisances. Please bless me. Please bless me. No, they were supposed to take blessings from Dhruva, because he is going to Vishnu Loka. But here it is reverse. He was so humble, he was begging. He was offering his obeisances and taking their blessings. This is a symptom of advanced devotee. And neophyte devotee thinks, I'm the best. No one is better than me. Everybody should come and take blessings from me. But an advanced devotee, he thinks everyone is greater than him. And so Prabhupada also tells that he had changed his body as it became spiritual body, and he jumped into, of course, he circumambulated, he offered obeisances to the airplane as well, and he boarded the airplane. At that time, the death personified was coming, and he just put his feet on the death and sat in the airplane. But immediately when he sat in the airplane, he started thinking, oh my God, my mother, he came to Badrika Ashram, but his mother, Suniti, she's at home, she's in the palace. Yes, mother ladies usually wouldn't leave the palace and go to forest to do meditation or devotion. So momentarily just thinking, what happened to my mother? Because actually she's my guru. Upon her advice only, I left the palace, went to the forest to practice devotion. So immediately Nanda and Sunanda, the assistants of the Lord, they could read the mind of Dhruva. And they said, Dhruva, don't worry. See before, see ahead. Your mother is traveling in a different airplane before you. So another airplane came for Mother Suniti. Prabhupada writes a wonderful point. She did not do all the devotion, but she advised Dhruva to do devotion. Prabhupada writes, I am preaching all over the world. If if I'm not able to go back, but if one of my devotee, he becomes like Dhruva, then if they think of me, then Krishna will also send me airplane. Humble. So sometimes when we preach, when we inform this katha, when we give this nectar to others, they might think of us. We may not become, they can become a better devotee than us, and they can think of us, and then probably because of them, we will be able to achieve some good result. And that's another point. So that's why preaching should be done, and we should please the devotees. If we please the devotees, they always think of us, isn't it? By serving devotees, they think of us. If they think just like Maharaj, he was thinking, and then he could see. Number 2 point, this is very important point, is that Prabhupada writes, every parent, every mother should follow in the footsteps of Suniti. What did she do? When there was a problem, rather than picking a quarrel with the co-wife, she advised Dhruva to go to forest and to practice devotion. She is Shiksha Guru. Shiksha Guru. Shiksha Guru is as good as Diksha Guru. So Prabhupada tells that, parents, they may not become devotees, but if they make their children devotees, then they can go back to Godhead as well. What a wonderful opportunity. From these Dhruva lessons, there are so many wonderful parenting lessons. I'm planning to do a seminar on this at some point. So Prabhupada writes wonderful, wonderful instructions that every parent, every mother should, if the children don't do, at least we do it. No problem. We'll think of our children, we'll also think of our parents. But especially when the children are young, then it is easy to mold. When they grow a little bigger, when they become adults, it's a little tricky. But when they're young, we can train them. Because of the time limit, I'm not, we are not reading those sections of the purport. But this is given in text 34 for those who want to read text 34 and 33. It's wonderful points were mentioned. I'm just explaining. And yes, so then he went back. While going back, he saw all the planetary system on his way through Maharaj. And then Narada sang Dhruva Maharaj glories. Narada became happy. And at the end, there was Falashruti was given. If we read or hear or describe this pastime of Dhruva, we get unlimited benefit. And so section from 41 till the end of the chapter just talks about that only. What were we going to get by reading this? We get devotion, whatever we want, we can get. So please, now having heard, you describe this pastime to your family members or friends. Read a little bit and explain this to others. That way, both of you get benefit. I will have to stop there. It's 8:10. If you have any questions and comments, I'm happy to take. Or anything that you want to share. Okay. So it's a working day, Prabhu, already 8:10. So we'll stop there. Hare Krishna, Grandha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari.
Hari
Thank you,
Bol.
Prabhuji.
Krishna
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.